Ooh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 114 of my gaming show, where once a week I just has to talk about video games, whether they're new video games that I'm playing today, old video games that I grew up with. It doesn't matter. Video games. And today we continue with the horror-a-thon that is October with another double dipping of horror video games. We got HellBlade 1 and HellBlade 2. Xbox's exclusive that seemingly nobody knows about, or, you know, they don't want you to know about it either, because the advertising and the marketing for HellBlade 2 specifically was awful. So I did my due diligence, finally played through these games. I did try out HellBlade 1 years ago, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. The game spooked me, and I stopped playing it. I was like, nope, not in the mood for this shit right now. But now I'm in the mood for that shit, and I played them. So we will be reviewing those two games today, talking about them, and are they worth your time still today? But before we get into that conversation, let's talk about what I've been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what y'all have been up to over the last whatever amount of time. It doesn't matter. Did you get some of those awesome new video games that have come out recently? Silent Hill 2 remake. I can't tell you how happy I am that that game came out and the reviews were really good. I was very, very nervous for that game. At points throughout its development, looked like it might not be doing very well, and thankfully it's come out and it seems everyone's quite happy with it, which is great. I have not played the Silent Hill games before, and that's a great start. I would love to start there, considering the original games are very hard to find and very expensive, but I'm very happy to hear that it's a good remake, and I can't wait to get into it. Maybe next October. I just don't think I can squeeze it in this year. And what about frickin' Metaphor ReFantazio? Anyone out there that's got that? Let me know about it. I have not had my radar on any games outside, like in the future. I just try not to do that. I have too much on my plate right now, so I can't worry about things that are coming out. There's just too many things to play that are available to me now. But Metaphor ReFantazio came out to electric reviews, man. This is one of the highest rated games of the year, if not the highest rated one, and it's made by one of my favorite companies, Atlas. And Atlas, basically what I'm hearing about it is that it's not changing the Persona formula, they just refined it. So with that being said, I was going to purchase it like right away. I was like, oh my god, I have to have this right now. But if it's similar to a Persona experience, I've had a couple of those. I definitely had one of those this year already, so I don't feel like I need to dive into Metaphor ReFantazio right yet. But it is most certainly probably top on the list right now for games I gotta get my hand on sooner rather than later. So anyone out there playing Metaphor, let me know how you're enjoying it, or Silent Hill. Both of those games, high on my radar. I must have them at some point when they're cheaper, probably. But anyway, not enough time to play those because I've been watching lots of movies and TV shows. Lots of stuff here. So let's start with TV shows. Let's do the Monsters Menendez story. My wife and I finished that. Absolutely dusted that show. One of the best shows I've seen in quite some time. Maybe since like Chernobyl, like a limited series that really just I loved this series, man. Incredibly dark. Like, why I loved it so much is because I knew nothing about the story, man. Absolutely nothing. Happened when I was a little itty-bitty baby, so it completely went over my head. And I have to shout out the acting. I'm not a huge acting hound. I don't go, oh, wow, that acting was so amazing. But when it's this level, like, it can't not be noticed. The acting on, what's his name? Anthony Bo something. Anyway, he's the main villain in No Country for Old Men. He plays the father in this show. Incredible performance. It's literally across the board, honestly. Him especially, but everybody. The mom, the kids, the not the judge, the lawyer. Like, oh my god, the acting in this series is amazing. Awards are going to be all over this show for acting, because, like, wow, it was amazing. I not only believed the story that the kids told, like, I bought it all, because it was God, it was so good, man. Such a chilling, dark story, and yeah, man, it was really, really good to I don't know, just to experience whatever that was. Absolutely crazy. Talking to people at work about this show, and, you know, there are people that I work with that actually remember this all happening. They were alive. You know, one guy talked, he's like, yeah, I was like a teenager when this went down. It was fucking insane. Like, just, it was a huge story. And sadly, it kind of just goes away. Like, I just watch it. It's an absolute must watch. It is so fucking good. But so much was going around at that time in real world. Like, that was when the LA riots happened, Rodney King, and of course the OJ case was going on all around this as well. So insane times the 90s were. I mean, oh my goodness. And I'm still learning about some of the crazy stuff that happened, you know, before I was even really alive. So that was a crazy show. Highest recommendation. It's one of the best shows I've seen in a while. So get on Netflix, watch Monsters, the Menendez story. It is phenomenal. I would hit it with like a 9 to like a 10. I really don't know. Like, it was amazing. All right, what else did I watch? I watched a couple episodes of Castlevania on Netflix, recommended by the homie Billy. He said he got into, he was getting into that, watched a season, I think he said, the first season. It's not very long. It's been on my hit list for a while, and I was like, well, there you go. That's a Halloween-y type show I could try to get into. Watched a couple episodes, didn't grab me, I didn't hate it. I haven't watched any more episodes since, so do I get back to it? I don't know. It didn't draw me in that much. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll watch some more. Maybe I won't. But what I watched more of was Face Off Inside the NHL, the inside look at the superstars around the NHL. It's like a 6-episode series on Prime. And it was actually awesome. So awesome. I still have not gone back to finish off that Montreal Canadiens docu-series or whatever, because I watched the first episode of this one. I was like, whoa, now this is actually good. Unlike the Habs one I was watching. But, dude. So if you are new to the NHL, if you think maybe the NHL is a little bit boring, I completely understand that. But check out this series, man. It is a nice, refreshing inside look at what hockey players are like, you know, behind their their statement, the copy and paste statements that they say after and before every game that they ever play, and in every interview. Yeah, we're gonna go out there, pucks deep, hard, all that shit. Just shut the fuck up and watch this stuff, because they actually say meaningful things with emotion, things with personality, things we all know these guys have. It's just the NHL has like silenced that, and now they're just kind of slowly starting to get out a little bit more, showing the personality of the stars. And it was a great little run, man. The episode, I can't remember what episodes I liked the most. Like, obviously you get episodes with Toronto Maple Leaf William Nylander in it. That was pretty fun. Jeremy Swayman's episode was really cool to watch, because when I watched that, he was currently in a contract dispute with Boston, his team, and they were kind of like getting into that a little bit, and it was like right before the Game 7 that he played against the Leafs, so it's like really rare types of situations you would be able to talk to a player. You get to see this in the documentary, and you might have seen the clip going around of Connor McDavid just flipping out in the locker room, saying like, this the fucking finals, it's not fucking good enough, dig the fucking, and he's going crazy and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I'm dying to see. I want to be in the locker room, I want to be a fly on the wall basically, and just see what's going on. You get that here, man. So it's definitely, if you're an NHL fan, you probably already watched it already. If you haven't, get on that. What are you doing? Watch it. And if you're a sports fan, maybe you're not quite invested in NHL, give this one a shot. It might tickle your pickle a little bit to get you a little more interested in the NHL. You know, I've been a lifelong fan of it. I shit all over the NHL all the time, but it is a great game. It really is. It's just sometimes they get in their own friggin' way. All right, so we got a couple movies to talk about. A couple of horror movies, baby. We're back to Shudder on still getting some movies in there, and they just keep coming, man. So I did Late Night with the Devil. The Devil. I keep doing that to my wife. It kills her, but I'm like, I can't do it too often because it really hurts my voice. So, you know, limited thing. But anyway, we watched Late Night with the Devil. Very cool concept of a movie. I've heard about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to see this. That sounds super cool. It takes place in the 70s, and they're on like a late night talk show, and the late night talk show is struggling with viewership, so they do some crazy shit to get viewership up, and some insanity ensues, and it was a good movie. There were some good scenes to it. Honestly, again, I watched this like 10, 12 days ago, so my memory's a little bit hazy on it. I liked it. Didn't love it. I don't know, maybe I was expecting a little bit too much out of the movie, but it was fun, man. It was fun. The one dude in the show, or in the movie, he's on the show. He's like a skeptic. He doesn't believe in ghosts. He doesn't believe in any paranormal anything. Doesn't believe in the devil. So he's all science. And his character was pretty fun. There was some pretty interesting twists with the show, and I just really like that concept. I can't say I've ever seen a show or a horror movie that revolved around a late night talk show. So it was cool. The characters were pretty fun. And yeah, it was definitely an interesting watch. If you're looking for something a little bit different in a horror movie, check it out. It's definitely worth a check out. It's unique. It's a little bit different. Did it stick with me? No, not really, but I liked it. It was a good popcorn movie. I just sat there, watched it, and was like, yeah, and then forgot about it the next day. I was like, oh, it was a good night. Anyway, we move on to the next movie I watched, and I noticed there's a lot of these movies. The VHS series, I guess. I don't know. There's a ton of these things popping up. They're all over Shudder. There's like VHS 1, 2, 94, 99, 80 something. They got all these different VHS movies. So I was like, I don't even know which one to pick. So I picked 94 because I was born in 93. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And so I watched it. And these movies are very unique. I really like these anthology movies. It's like 6 kind of different stories kind of all wrapped in together into a movie, and I love that. My wife hates it. She hates that kind of stuff. I love it. I don't know. I just like a completely different shift change. Now, it's not that aggressive. It's not like we go from a fucking children's storybook to a fucking dark dungeon or anything. It's 6 kind of creepy stories, and it was a pretty creepy movie. I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple of scares where I went, ooh, yeah, you got me. And I will say, every time I get scared, I get a big old smile on my face, and I start to think about, how did they do that? Like, how did they get me so good? Like, you crafted that scare very well. Now, of course, there are some cheap little jump scares or whatever, but that's fine with me. Very enjoyable, man. There was definitely quite a few, like, really unsettling, like, freaky moments in the movie where I'm like, they'll go into like first person. It's kind of like a found footage movie, but there's some, spots where they're just walking through really dark areas with that camera flashlight, and I'm like, oh god, this is really very tense, but really, really enjoyed the movie. And it has that kind of 90s look to it, like it was filmed in the 90s, so they got that feeling to it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Another one that I would highly recommend is like a good Friday night popcorn movie. Have a little fun, have a laugh, get a scare in there. Very enjoyable movie. I'm definitely curious now with the other VHS movies. I'll be watching more of them. Don't know when, but there's so many of them. And they're all rated pretty well. Like, I looked at them, and it seems like critics and fans are pretty good with these movies all across the board. So, yeah, I got a lot of VHS movies to watch, and first one was pretty damn good. I did it with like a 7.5 out of 10. And then video games. I actually have played video games. So I've been dived into the next horror game. I won't talk about it yet. We'll keep that a surprise for now. But in between all the horror, I needed a little bit of a palate cleanser, so I got back into Galacticare. I started this a long time ago. I was like, oh, is this going to be a 2 Points Hospital clone? And that's exactly what it was. I was like, perfect. I will save that for later. And now's the time. Got back into Galacticare. Had to download a 26 gigabyte update before I can even freaking play it, so holy crap. But yeah. If you played 2 Points Hospital, 2 Points Campus, it is the exact same thing. Definitely doesn't have that. It's missing that charm, or it's missing something. It's missing a key ingredient there that 2 Points has. I think it's just charm. But gameplay-wise, it's the same thing. You're running a hospital in outer space, and it plays the exact same way. And that's really all I could ask for. I'm like, I just want some more games like 2 Point. Here's one that's just like it, plays just like it, feels just like it, and it's doing its job. It's good. I'm having a good time with it. Perfect to throw a podcast on, get caught up with all my podcasts, maybe have a hockey game on in the background. I need to have those kind of games where I can have something else going on in my ear outside of the video game, because I listen to so many podcasts, I gotta keep up. So I need these kind of games, and Galacticare, perfect kind of game for that situation. And I also dived into This War of Mine. I was sitting there last night with my Switch. My wife and I are watching wrestling. I'm like, I need something to play on my Switch, but I don't know what I want to get into. I just picked something. I basically just picked at random. I was like, let's try This War of Mine. And holy shit, this game grabbed me and didn't let go of me last night. I played for hours. I just got super addicted to this game, and it's, oh man, I don't even really know how to explain this game. It's kind of like a survival game. You're in this post-war era, or like you're in war. You're like war times, basically. You're stuck in this fucking ravaged war city, and you're just trying to survive day by day. And during the day, you're trying to feed yourself. You're trying to find, you're trying to build stuff for your house. Trying to get a bed going. Trying to get water or anything. You're literally just trying to survive. Like, it is bare bones. Like, you have nothing, and it's like you and two other people, and you can work together to survive. And at night, you go out and try and scavenge for stuff, and you can choose a bunch of locations to go to. Some are safe, some aren't, and you go out there and risk it, and you try to bring back as much as you can: equipment, food, medicine, anything that you can get your hands on. Bring it back at the risk of your place getting raided when you leave it. And like, oh man, it is extremely addicting. It is an extremely addicting gameplay loop where it's just, you're just day by day. You work at the day, you do your thing at night, you come back at the day, and you try to build as much shit as you can. You go back out at night, and you're just trying to live, y'all. Like, I had one dude die. I went out scavenging. He got fucking shot. I just went into a house. There's people in there like, get out! And they shot me, and I was dead. I was like, oh, fuck. And then a random person came to my door, like, can I hang out with you? I was like, yeah, I need help. Like, get in here. And then one dude just fucking fucked off in the middle of the night, took half my shit with him, and he just left me. I was like, dude, we were okay. And like, yeah, man, this game is friggin' awesome so far. I am very much so enjoying it. Definitely got to be I've really never heard anything much about this game. I picked it up like a month ago for very, very cheap on Switch, and my goodness, this game rules. If you need, I don't know, like, what the hell kind of games are these? Like a survivalist management sim kind of thing? I don't know, but I'm addicted, and I'm loving it. So check out This War of Mine if you haven't heard about it before. This game has really, really got its hooks into me. So yeah, I think that's everything that I've been up to. A long intro this week, but let's get into the HellBlade 1 and 2 talk. There, we'll give you something a little soothing before we get into this nightmarish game that is called HellBlade. Senua's Sacrifice. At least that's the name of the first game, which is what we're talking about right now. We'll start with the first game, obviously. And like I said, I have experienced this game once before in a small amount. I did not play very much of it because it spooked the hell out of me. I had no idea what the heck this game was. And still kind of have a hard time explaining what the heck this game is. It is definitely more of an experience than it is a video game. There is a very, very unique game that focuses in on more of the mentality of human beings, what humans can go through in different states of mentality, we'll say. I'm really trying to beat around the bush a little bit without kind of just throwing at you what exactly this game is kind of getting you to experience. It does tell you that. It's not really a secret. Like, all throughout the development, we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. You basically, you play as Senua, and you kind of have lost your mind. You have psychosis. You see things, you hear things, you experience things that aren't there all the time, right? So you're not, crazy is too not quite the word. What they're doing is psychosis, and the developers of the game, Ninja Theory, I do believe it is, really cool interesting company right there. There's a few games that they've made. I think it was called Ninja. Oh god, they made a game on Xbox that was basically like a really long cutscene with a lot of quick time events, but it always looked really cool. Anyway, Ninja Theory, I think it's Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory? Ninja Blade? Ninja Blade, I think, is the name of the game. Ninja Theory is the name of the company that makes this game. And they brought in, like, professional doctors that have dealt with real humans with psychosis and their experiences. And they used those experiences, the professionals from the doctors, people that actually have psychosis, they use that and develop this game to give you as close of an experience as it's like to have psychosis and what that might be like. And quite the concept, I must say, and a very, very unique game. So basically, yes, you are playing as Senua, and you got to confront your demons to save your lover. So I can't go down like that part of the story because that's kind of the little bit of the mystery that's around the game, like why all this is happening. That's kind of what gets revealed to you throughout. So we'll get into it, but I won't spoil anything too crazy. But this game deals with psychosis, and that is like kind of the big mechanic of the game, and it's very, very, very cool. So that's kind of your little intro there. Let's get into probably the most pleasing part about this game, and that is the graphics. Oh my goodness, when this game came out, looked amazing, and it still looks amazing. Ninja Theory, they make some good looking games, man, and this isn't, it still looks very, very good. One of the nicest looking games in terms of facial animation and detail, and they just look and move more realistic than normal, you know? Very, very impressive looking game, especially on Senua. Like, she just looks outstanding. Like, the eyes alone, like, I don't, like, it's really hard to explain, but when you look at a person's eyes, like a real person's eyes, there's a story behind, like, you can tell by just looking into someone's eyes, like, you can tell a little bit maybe about what they've been through just looking at the eyes. And when you look at the eyes of Senua, like, you know she's been through some really, really dark shit, and like the emotions that you're getting out of just her eyes and the movements and just the fear and the confusion in her eyes is just out of control, man. Like, it is very, very, very impressive, and the animations are outstanding as well. Like, they move very realistic. It's as close to, you know, human looking animations as you get. They do actually toss in real people in this game. Like, there'll be like some illusions or like images that you'll see, and it's like real actual people. It did take me a minute to realize that it was actually real people. I'm like, damn, that shit looks good. And I'm like, oh wait, no, that's just a real dude back there. But it definitely wasn't, like I said, it kind of took me a minute to notice that. I can remember, like, back on PS2, I think it was Need for Speed Most Wanted, their cutscenes were all with, like, real people, but, like, it just didn't look right, you know? So there was, like, that clear, obvious difference between reality and game graphics. But in this game, wasn't that noticeable. They did a good job with it because it was, like, kind of illusionary, so they're, like, kind of transparent. Regardless, they had some, like, real-life actors in here interacting with Senua throughout the game pretty much seamlessly, which I found rather impressive. And, dude, the lighting and the shadows in this game are fucking incredible. Absolutely outstanding. It is a very dark game. Quite possibly too dark. There are quite a few areas where it is absolutely pitch black. Pitch black, and you cannot see anything. This could be on my side. It could be that my monitor is just, the gamma might be too low. But there were some spots in this game where it was pitch black, and I couldn't see absolutely anything. So rather that just the game got too dark, or my shit was set up wrong. But regardless, it's a dark ass game, and the lighting and the shadows are just superb. Absolutely superb. Shadows are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It looks very creepy. And they also got like this kind of awesome Norse mythology, you know, Vikings, kind of like God of War, how they've gone from, instead of mythological gods and stuff, they've gone to the Norse mythological stuff. So that's what this game's all about. I'm guessing it takes place in that time frame. I don't really know, like 1400s, 1500s. I don't know. They don't really say that flat out, like where and what the heck we are. But yeah, it's definitely focused around Norse mythology. You get to hear a lot of, like, you'll find these, like, little things, and it'll tell you stories about the gods and stuff like that, which I love. I love that kind of stuff. So every time I got a little story, I get all snuggled up and I'm like, oh yeah, tell me the story about the god who did this, and like, oh yeah, so that shit's really cool. So it's got, like, this Norse mythology thing going on, and it's got some really cool areas with, let's just call it, unsettling, environmental stuff going on. One of the areas that really stood out to me, there's an area you're just walking through. A lot of it's in, like, caves and stuff like that, going down into dark, scary caves. It's where a lot of the game takes place. You come out of the caves every now and again, but for the most part, you're in very dark areas. But in this one cave, you just get there, and there's all these hands are coming out of the walls, and they're trying to grab you, and I was like, oh god, that is so key, but also super disgusting at the same time. And there's this one area where you're outside, and, like, inside, like, the mountains or the walls or whatever the fuck this is, there's, like, people or, like, giants looking things, like, in the wall. There's definitely humans that are inside the walls. They've been, like, I don't know, fossilized into the walls. They were, I don't know, but regardless, there's a lot of mystery. You just show up and you're like, why are people in the walls, and, like, what the hell is did they build this place out of people? Like, I don't know, but that area was very cool to me. And then I guess we should talk about these the creatures that you're dealing with in this game. Pretty creepy, I would say. Yeah, they're definitely freaky. They kind of got this, like, well, they're like skeletons, basically. They're all, like, dead things, but they're taking the form of, like, your nightmare, and apparently, so, you know, it's taking place around Vikings and stuff. So, but from what I've read, Senua doesn't know what the Northmen look like. She doesn't know what her enemies look like yet, because she's actually been, like, kind of stuffed away, put away in a box, kind of hidden away from everybody. And also, everyone kind of hates Senua because they think she's cursed, and she caused all this plague to happen around the land. So Senua isn't necessarily the most popular person in her tribe. And yeah, so all that's kind of going on. So she doesn't really know what these Northmen look like. So when you're fighting them, these are just like nightmare-fueled injections of what she thinks these Northmen would look like. And they're big, just armored creatures, and yeah, they're pretty unsettling. They're big and scary, and they show up in the darkness. So yeah, the creatures are pretty creepy. Definitely got some creepy shit going on. But overall, with the graphics and the performance of this game, outstanding. This is one of the nicest looking games that I've played on my Xbox. It just looks awesome. The environments are very awesome. The lighting, and yeah, man, it's a very nice looking game. And let's move on now to the sound design, which is another major part of this game. And we'll start with Senua herself. She is outstanding in this game. I should have figured out who performed Senua, but oh my goodness, applause to you, if you will. I have to slap my chest because my hands are full, but amazing, absolutely amazing. The amount of emotion portrayed in her performance is incredible. The fear, the anger, the confusion, just everything, man. She portrays it so well, and just very, very emotional performance. And one other voice I really want to shout out. Later in the game, once you get a little further in, you'll start getting this really deep demonic voice that's talking to you. I won't reveal who that voice is supposed to be, but that voice is awesome. It's super dark and chilling and creepy, and he's just chirping the shit out of you the whole game. He's like, you're useless, you can't do it, you should just lay here and die, and all that shit. You're like, oh my god, like, what are you, my father? Like, Jesus, guy's a dick. But on top of the evil, devilish voice, the devil voice that you have to hear, you also have voices in your head that are talking to you all the time. All throughout the game, they're talking to you. Multiple voices in your head. And this is the psychosis. Not really a mechanic, it's just what you're dealing with. Whenever you're doing anything, puzzles, combat, walking, talking, doing anything, you got the voices in your head saying, whatever the fuck they want. They're telling you can't do it. They're generally very mean and very much so raining on your parade, saying that you can't do it, and your lover is already dead, and you might as well just go back and just die because you're pointless and useless. And yeah, they're very unpleasant for the most part. Every now and again they'll get like kind of like, I don't know, like kind of teasing you, like, oh, she actually figured it out. Oh, she actually did it. Ooh, stuff like, so yeah, they're very not pleasant, but they're highly, I won't say entertaining, but it's so cool, man. It is so freaking cool. And this is a game you absolutely, I'm not even kidding. You have to play this game with headphones. It's not even an option. You must play with headphones because the voices in your head, as long as if you're playing with the right headset, they're like all around you. You can hear them like behind you, in your right ear and your left ear, and there's like multiple voices. Then they're talking at the same time. It's crazy cool, man. It is definitely one of the coolest things about the game. It doesn't add anything. Like they are kind of semi helping you at times. Like you might come to a puzzle and be like, oh, we gotta find the symbol. Something like that. I don't know. They're also semi helping you at the same time. But regardless, these voices that are constantly in your head, they're like building up anxiety. They're building up fear, especially, man, like when, I don't know, you get up to something that, I don't want to go down in that dark, scary cave. And they'll be like, don't go down there. It's scary. Don't go down there. You'll die. And it's just, they're making it so much worse. Like, oh, I really don't want to go down there now. They're probably right. But, yeah, man, they definitely bring in a lot of extra fear and anxiety, and they can actually be kind of funny at times. There's a couple times, like I said, they can kind of joke around and tease you a little bit. It's pretty funny, but the sound design in this game, everything is absolutely excellent. And it's super atmospheric. I mean, hearing all the sounds and the voices all around you, it's freaking super atmospheric. And again, the headphones are an absolute must. And with the music, for me in horror games, it really isn't, it's there, it's back there, it's being ominous, it's being spooky, it's doing its job. It's not supposed to be like way out there, like, hey, look at me, I'm the music, everybody. It sets the tone and makes things very dreary. It does a great job. The music is awesome. But again, I'm not sitting there humming HellBlade 1 and 2 songs while I'm cooking and cleaning and shit, so yeah, it's a tone-setting situation, though. The sound design is so freaking good. And then we get to the gameplay. That's where the game falls off a steep cliff, if you will. So, there's this mechanic in the game. Whenever you do die, you have this, like, curse. You are cursed. And whenever you die, the curse spreads a little bit. If the curse spreads too much and it takes over your body, you're done. You gotta start the game all over again. And I have no idea how many times you can die before the game starts all over again. All I know is that fucking mechanic caused so much unnecessary anxiety and anger because I was so worried that at some point I was gonna die, and then I would start the game all over again, and I just wouldn't do it. If that happened, that's it. I'm done with this game, and I'd never play it again. Thankfully, that didn't happen, but that is a mechanic I really don't think they needed to have in here. It's a cool idea. I just don't think it fit for me personally, and especially when I started getting, like, killed for very silly reasons, oh man, did I ever get fucking angry. So, really didn't feel that mechanic was awesome. And then you get combat. So, you do have combat. It's solid mechanically, like, it works. You're equipped with a sword. You got your quick and heavy attacks. Pretty simple stuff. The dodge roll is a little bit iffy. I can't tell you how many times I've dodged and still got hit. Doesn't really matter when I timed it. It just seems like I'm just going to get hit no matter what here. I can spam the dodge attack. If you hit it a bunch of times, you'll do like a roll. And I don't know, man. The dodge rolls just definitely seem questionable, like the hitboxes and stuff. Like, I'm like, yo, I dodged that shit and you still got me. Like, I don't know about that. So that was a pretty consistent frustration right there. And then, like, just the pacing of the fights were fucking rough, man. Some of these fights were feeling like they were endless. Just another enemy would show up, and then another one, and another, and another, and another, and it just got so repetitive. It got super dull very fast, because there's only 2 moves. There's really nothing else to it. It's just a heavy and a light attack. You dodge, and you do have a parry. You do have like a block and a parry. That's pretty good. In the first game, I would recommend, don't even bother dodging, just block. Just block. You'll probably have a lot better consistency with that instead of dodging. Me, I'm a Bloodborne guy at heart, so I'm all about that dodge. I just like to dodge out of the way, and I don't know, that's just how I is, but it didn't work very good in this game. And I didn't like all the big groups you have to fight. And there are some boss fights in this game, and they're bad. They're fucking terrible. And there's one fight that might be one of the worst boss fights I've ever done. His name was Fenrir or something. Fucking atrocious. So, the fight is very, very long. It just keeps going. You're just doing the same thing over and over again. You're just dodging his attacks. You hit him, you dodge, you hit him, you dodge, you hit him. And then the room goes pitch fucking black, and you're supposed to just listen for him. And it's a very cool sounding, like it's a cool idea. It did not work in this fight. It was so tedious, so boring, and I died on like the second to final hit and had to start the fight all over again. So all said and done, it took like 25-30 minutes to beat this piece of shit. Wasn't even hard. It was just extremely, extremely annoying. Definitely one of the worst boss fights I can remember. Really, really bad. I hated it. It did look cool, though. The creature was pretty cool. It was like a four-legged beast thing. It was all right. It just wasn't fun. And then we had puzzles, which they're not very good either. So the majority of the puzzles are these, like, find the symbols in the environment. And holy fuck, man. Like, they were okay, like, the first 5 that I did, but then the next 50 of them, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Every time I turn the corner and boom, I see the freaking symbols there. I was like, no, not another stupid symbol puzzle. And they were so annoying. They would really hide these things sometimes in the environment. Like, you're basically, you come up, you see like symbols. Like, okay, you're looking for like a T thing. You're looking for like a X. And then you got to go walking around the environments looking for it. And by the way, you move slow as shit. Like, Senua walks and jogs, but it's not fast at all. And if you go this way, and when you're just kind of going around, looking around, like, okay, did I miss something over here? Walking all the way back over there and back over there is just a fucking pain in the ass. So, some of these symbols I couldn't find. I'm going back and forth, left and right, just like, holy shit. So these things got immensely tedious. I was fine with them at first, and then, like, very quickly started to absolutely detest these things. I hated the symbol puzzles. They did have a couple of other puzzles. So before I get there, let's talk about they have like illusionary puzzles, which are kind of neat. You'll have to like look at something and it'll like change the landscape. So all of a sudden this like rock that was blocking your way, it's gone now, and now it's a path, a cool little hidden path. Those were cool. They just didn't have very much of them. Like, the ratio of illusionary puzzles to symbol puzzles was like 100-1. It was like, what the fuck, man? Give me another illusionary puzzle. And then they make the symbol puzzles even worse. They put you in a maze, and on top of that, they got this flame fuck who's just walking around, and if he gets near you, he fucks up your camera, and if he gets really close to you, he'll kill you. And yeah, he killed me like 4 times, because didn't know what the hell I was doing, couldn't find the symbols, didn't realize that the guy was killing me, and so I was getting mad, bro. I was getting mad. I was like, yo, if I fucking die one more fucking time, I'm gonna fucking quit this game. And I was getting very, very upset. I finally figured it out, but jeez, man, that was the most infuriating part for me in this game. I got very, very mad at that part. Puzzles were not fun. And then you get to the finale of the game. It was good overall. You do have to get through a little bit of a fight with some of the previous baddies that you fought. Sadly, you got to fight that Fenrir guy again and do the same thing. Thankfully, it's not as long. They're all the boss fights just kind of, they just shortened it down to like one section of the fight. And like I said, none of the boss fights were very good. The Fenrir one was one of the worst I've ever played. Other 2 I think were in the game. They're just like all the other fights. You just dodge and then smack them when you can. And I think in this game you could slow things down eventually. Like, once you hit them enough times, you can like slow them down, and it makes fighting them a little bit easier. That might be in the second game, but I definitely remember that being in one of the games, possibly both of them. But the finale was, yeah, You get through those fights, it was fine, but the final scene was fucking great. The story of this game is very, very cool. I had to like kind of, watch one of those like, what? Can you explain the ending a little bit there to me? And that's when I like was like, oh, okay. I went from kind of, I wouldn't say hating this game. Hate is a very strong word, but let's say disliking this game to more of an understanding of the game. I was like, okay, now I understand this. It didn't make the gameplay any better, that's for sure, but it made me more intrigued by the story, made me more intrigued by the enemies and the voices in your head mechanics and stuff like that. It made me very interested enough that I wanted to get into HellBlade 2. When I did finish this game, I was like, I don't know if I want to get into HellBlade 2. This was rough. And well, let's talk about why it was rough. Well, let's get there. So, like I said, the finale was good. The game overall was about 8-ish hours, and I will admit there were a few times I wanted the game to be done. When I walked into my 50th fucking symbol puzzle, or I was ganged up on by another big group of enemies that just never seemed to end, I was like, yo, I'm ready for this game to be over. I feel like 8 hours overstayed its welcome just a little bit. The second game, we'll get to that one in a second, but yeah, maybe a 6-7-ish hour game that would have been a bit better. Take out a fight or 7 or some of those fucking puzzles. So yeah, but the things I didn't like about the game, obviously, mostly the gameplay. Combat wasn't very good. Symbol puzzles were tedious and annoying as fuck. Boss fights were very much so just not good, especially the Fenrir one, and the game's kind of slow. You move slow, combat's slow. Doing if you mess up something and go all the way back, a huge pain in the ass. So overall, out of 10, I would give this like a 6.5 out of 10. Borderline 7, just because of how cool everything, like the concept is. But for me personally, if this game is, if the gameplay sounds like it's not going to be for you, I still feel like this game is absolutely worth experiencing. Watch a Let's Play of it. Play it on easy or something like that, because the story, the concept of the game, the performances of Senua and the voices in this game, I feel like are very justified to be at least experienced. Watch it. Watch someone like summarize the story to you. Something like that. I feel like this game deserves that. It's very, very cool. It's just janky as fuck when it comes to the gameplay, but everything else is super duper cool. So take that with a grain of salt. I think everyone should experience HellBlade, but not necessarily you have to play it. It's not something you have to play, that's for sure. But check the story out. It's very cool. Let's dive into HellBlade 2, Senua's Saga. Now we get to HellBlade 2, a very interesting game. So this came out not very long ago. I think it came out last year. Did it come out this year? Anyway, who fucking knows, right? Because there was next to no conversation about this game leading up to its release and after its release. It kind of came and went, and I was like, alright then. It was supposed to be one of Xbox's biggest games of the year. And yeah, it just kind of was a wet fart. So I did some digging. And I'm like, yo, was there something wrong with this game? We're going to answer that. What the heck is going on with HellBlade 2? Was it so bad that they just kind of wanted to forget about it? Absolutely not. The crazy thing about this game is HellBlade 2 is awesome. It is so fucking good. And I am shocked that it was just left like this. It's out there if you want to check it out. If not, oh well, that's fine. Like, no, this game should be like one of Xbox's flagship video games. I was blown away by HellBlade 2, and I will tell you why. Let's get in here. So HellBlade 2 takes place after HellBlade 1, and now you are back to fight off the giants that rule the land. I mean, I'm already like, yo, that's a cool ass concept. I'm in. So I will say that the game feels like, I don't want to compare it to Horizon, but it has a Horizon-y feel to it. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but all of a sudden, like, it's not so like singular anymore. The first game was very much so just kind of you and Senua and her voices and her nightmares and all that stuff. This game feels bigger, like it wanted to go somewhere else. Like we were gonna make it a bigger game, maybe a franchise. So you're getting like more people, it's bigger and better. It is most certainly better. So let's start with the graphics. Straight up, this is one of the best looking games, maybe the best looking game I have ever played, period. This game is stunning. Stunning. I cannot believe how good this game freaking looks, man. It makes the first HellBlade look pretty simple. Like, it jacks up the details. Like, oh my god, man. It looks so freaking good. The details on Senua, she looks fucking real at times, man. And the crazy thing is, it happens even during combat. There is no transitions to anything. The game is like one solid engine. We don't go into a cutscene mode. We don't go into combat mode. It is one mode, one graphical engine, and you go from talking to a dude and, you know, having an emotional conversation to fighting for your life, and you can see the emotions on your enemies. Like when they take a swing, you can see their, like you could like see the emotion in their faces while you're fighting them. And I can't say I've ever seen anything so detailed in motion like that. Like while I'm in gameplay, while I'm doing shit, I was blown the fuck away. And again, not a graphics hound by any means, but when I see something that looks this fucking good, I gotta praise it, man. This is a stunning looking game in terms of everything graphically. I mean, the character details and animations, like I said, are crazy. The character and enemy animations are much more realistic looking. They already look pretty fucking realistic, and now they look even more realistic. The fact that there's, like, it's so seamless, like I said, between combat to an emotional scene. Like, there's no cutscene. It's just a scene. It's just a moment in the game. It's all one. It's crazy to me. The lighting and the shadows, what do I need to say? They're fucking stunning. And it's even, the first game was dark. This game obviously has the darkness, but there's more bright environments now too. Like, they don't just shy away, like, no, there's sunlight in this world. We have sun. Yeah, look at it. God damn it. There's brightness up there. So now you get a little bit more brightness to the game, and the shadows are just amazing. They look so fucking good, man. And now it's not just dark, dank caves and stuff like that. Now you got, like, rolling green hills and trees and, like, landscape outdoors and stuff like that. Really, really cool. And, like, one of the first areas you land on is a beach, and, like, oh, dude, the water washing up on the rocks, and the rocks are glistening with wet, and it just looks so good. It looks so realistic, man. It's crazy. They have, like, there's more areas. They have the forest area, which is just, for me personally, nightmare fuel. It looks exactly like your standard spooky ass forest. The fog, the trees don't have leaves on it. They're all, like, spiky and, like, oh god, but it looks so horrifically awesome. You know what I'm saying? God. And it gets even crazier. Like, now they have, like, so these giants, right? These moments with these giants are incredible, like, technically insane. So the first one you fight or deal with, I don't really know if you're, like, fighting it necessarily, but the first one you deal with is the fire giant. That sequence was absolutely crazy, bro. Like, you got lava that is spilling all around you, and, like, the brightness of the lava, like, it just looks so freaking good. Rocks are exploding all around you and shit, and you got this ginormous giant just being a giant, being big, causing big destruction. It was amazing. I was blown away. That was my favorite part of the whole game, the fire giant. That was just crazy. But the other giants are great too. Like, they also have, like, very cool like, water effects and, like, storm effects, man. Like, holy fuck, like, they really ramped it up in this game. I'm still stunned that people aren't like, oh my god, this was, like, one of the best games of the year. And it's just, whew. I mean, it was a big year last year, I understand that, but, like, fuck, I can't believe people aren't talking about this game. So, graphically, a huge upgrade over the first game. What about the sound design? Well, now they've added more depth to the soundtrack, without a doubt. The soundtrack actually, like, really comes through now in this game, but at the right moments. Not when it's supposed to be dreary and whatever. It builds that up very nicely, but when there's kind of more tender moments now, the game a little bit more tender, and with that tenderness comes piano. And when those piano melodies hit, oh my god, oh, they hit hard. Like, I wasn't crying or anything, but I'm just like, oh yeah, like, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm just like, oh, the emotions, like, oh, really, really can feel it. And it's just an excellent addition throughout the game. It really enhances the tones of sadness I felt throughout the game. Like, when that piano hits, like, it's never a good thing, right? I was always very sad. And of course, again, the incredible performance from Senua. She crushes it again, probably even better this time around. Like, now Senua's a little bit more badass. Like, now she's kind of dealt with some of her nightmares. Though the nightmare is not over yet, not by a long shot. She's got a lot more nightmares to deal with, but Senua's a little bit more assured of herself now. She's a little bit more confident. She's not this broken human that she was in the first game. But she's amazing, man. She is so fucking good. Voice acting is outstanding throughout this game. I can't really pinpoint like particular people, but because they weren't really around very long, but the evil voice, again, that's back. It was awesome. And of course, the voices in your head are back, and they're a little bit funnier this time around. They're a little more like, oh, she really did it. Like, they're a little bit more of jabbing at you a little bit, because I think Senua's more in control of these voices now. They're still there, but they're a little bit tame. They don't get so down on you all the time. Like, you should just go crawl in a hole and die, you useless bastard, and shit like that. But, oh man, I really enjoy the voices in your head. You know, it's I don't think anyone's really ever said that, but I enjoyed the voices in my head. Now let's talk about the gameplay. So obviously, if I like the game a lot more, they fixed up the gameplay, right? Let's talk about it. The combat, it's a little bit tighter. That's really it. It's the dodging is still iffy. Like, I possibly even worse. Like, I feel like I dodge and I still get hit no matter what. It's just, I can be behind the guy and he still manages to get me. So that hitbox, it ain't doing its job, man. That hitbox is fucking crazy. And apparently there's no more parry. You could parry in the first game. Like, if you hit the block button just before contact, bam, you get a parry and you can do some good easy damage. That's gone now from what I could tell. I couldn't do that. And blocking isn't as useful. I will admit that maybe the blocking was a little bit overpowered in the first game. All you really had to do is just hold the block button. That probably would have fixed a lot of my problems I was having with the combat in the first game. I like to dodge. Dodging sucks. But the block in the first game was great. It blocks everything. You get no damage and you just swing back. It's not that good anymore, and no parry. So, yeah, you have to start using the dodge a little bit more. And again, it's not that good. But what they fixed was the fights have much better pace to it. And it's just not waves of enemies coming after you. It's like, oh, here's 7 dudes, deal with them. Now it's more cinematic. They'll have like one guy coming at you in like kind of a cinematic way, like he like grabs you or something from behind and like you dodge and then you get into the fight, and then when you're finished with him, it kind of gets cinematic again. You like toss him over to the ground, some other guy jumps on you. It's just faster and it's better paced. They don't have these really long, annoying fights anymore, which is great. So that's good. One enemy that did annoy me was like the fire spitting dudes. Again, I could not dodge these guys for the life of me. They shoot their fire, I smash the dodge button 1,000 times, I just can't get away, get lit on fire, and I go, oh well, and I just keep hitting them until they're not alive anymore. And you get that mechanic again, if you dodge or hit them enough times, you can go into that slow-mo mode, which is a must. Like, it's an instant kill, basically. Whenever you go into slow-mo, they just move really slow, and you can beat the shit out of them. And it's key, that's pretty key. And they fixed up the symbol puzzles as well. The puzzles are better. They still have the symbol puzzles, but they're a lot better. They're not as hard to find in the environment. They're not as like not 8 miles that way and 8 miles that way far apart. They're closer. They're just better. It's still symbol puzzles, which, you know, there's not a lot of creativity to that. I'm just kind of looking, and they make it a lot more obvious, like, that it's here. When you're in the area that the symbol is in, they'll have like all these little red symbols are all over the area, so you can like, you're like, all right, I know it's around here, so just start looking around. So they fixed those up a little bit, and they've added some different puzzles. There's like this orb puzzles now, which are very similar to the illusion thing. So you just look at these orbs and it changes the environment. All of a sudden, where there was no rock, there's a rock path now. You can go, and it's so cute. So those were all right. Again, they're not like mind-bending puzzles where I'm like, oh man, I'm really thinking here. There's really in depth. I'm lost. They're just kind of there, right? But are a lot better. And they have these like hidden faces in the environment. I guess it's the collectible. It's got to be some. I think there's like, I don't know. I think there's a secret ending to the game, and this is how you get it. And throughout the game, you'll just be walking around. You might notice these like faces kind of hidden into the environment, and if you look at them, it'll open up a secret path. And then you'll like find this little tree. You fucking look at the tree, and there's like a whole like little orbs that light up, and there's a whole bunch of these little lights. So yeah, I didn't find them all, but they're pretty cool. Like I was like, oh cool, look, there's a little face over there. Oh yeah. Anyway, that was pretty key. So back to the gameplay, some of the other great moments of this game, or some of the terrifying games. You have to get into this like black water, and I hate that shit so fucking much. And when you get there, you already know there's stuff, like, clearly stuff in the water. You look in the water, like, fucking hands in there. There's like, nah, they're gonna grab me and shit. And you gotta go in with, like, a light. And as long as you're within the light, nothing will grab you. But I'm just like, ugh. Every time I get out of the water, I get that, oh, don't touch me. Like, oh, just don't fucking touch me. Oh my God, I hate that shit. But it was very unsettling, and it was awesome. They did a great job with that, because I was, like, very tense throughout that part. Didn't like that very much. There's also another part where you're just going into caves and you're searching for these hidden folk, and going through those caves. Just, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Descent, where they're like down in the caves and shit. It was very similar to that. It just felt just like that, down in these dark as fuck caves, like, oh, and you're like hearing shit, like, oh my God, the sound design is so freaking good in this game, man. Like, oh my, I cannot stress that enough. But all that being said, is this game all that scary? Are either of these games all that scary? For me, no. They're more like psychologically scary. Once you start to like understand the story more, it could get like more scary if you look into that kind of stuff. But for me, there wasn't like a whole bunch of like, oh God, like jump scares. There weren't like moments where I was just so terrified. Like, there was unsettling moments for sure. Overall, I give it like a 5 out of 10 on the scary scale. For me personally, everybody's different. I just didn't find it that scary. More so, the second game was a lot less scary. The first game's darker. It's definitely like darker in tone as well, like the stuff that they're saying to you. In the second game, there's a little bit of hope now. There's like a possibility that like things might get better. So like the tone of the game is a little bit turned down in terms of the horror. It's still a horror game, I would call it. But like I said, it almost seems like they were planning maybe for a different direction, where, I don't know, for some reason I just get that comparison of Horizon, where it's like this new world, and like like Aloy is the savior of this new world, and like Senua is going to be the savior of this new world, and she was once cursed and thrown out, casted away, and now she can like be the leader and the savior of this new, where the fuck we are. But yeah, it felt like they were trying to shift it into a different, bigger direction, where maybe HellBlade 3 would be this huge AAA like big game that everyone's gonna get. But holy crap. All right, so that's getting through the game. Well, it took me about 7-ish hours, a little bit shorter than the first game, and I feel like that was all just saved from the tediousness of the puzzles being like really just fucking tedious, going back and forth trying to find this little image or whatever. They tightened it up. They made the pacing so much better, even though the gameplay mechanics hadn't changed all that much. Like the combat, it's pretty much untouched. It's works the same as it did in the first game. It's just a little bit tighter. It's just the pacing of the game was so much better this time around. I really actually had a hard time putting this one down. I wanted to get to the next part, see what the next giant's going to do, see what our next plan was. With the first HellBlade, I was like, I can't wait till this is over. I'm fucking done. Are you done? Nope. All right, we'll keep going. Completely the opposite with HellBlade 2, which I was like, what the hell? Because when HellBlade 1 came out, people were like raving about this game. Oh, what an amazing game. You gotta check this out. HellBlade 2, crickets. fucking crickets. I'm like, how? So, yeah, that being said, I very much so enjoyed this game much, much more than the first one. Really, the only cons that I had with the game, this one, is that the combat still isn't anything special. It's very plain. It's just, they've just made it more cinematic now, that's all. So it's better to watch it, at least. It's still not that fun to do. But the pros, the story is so cool, man. I love the story of this game. Don't want to get too into it without the spoiling and stuff like that, but I think the story is fucking super cool. Super duper cool. The character of Senua is awesome. Her performance is amazing. Like, really like Senua. She's just so cool. One of the most gorgeous looking games I've ever played. Like, it's definitely up there, if not the leader right now. It's not a very big game, so obviously they can pump up the graphics a little bit. I have nothing wrong with games being 8 to 12 hours, no problem with that, but fuck, this game looks so freaking good, man. I was blown away. The environments look good. Just this world is very, very cool. Like, now you get to see more of it and see how big this land is, and like, man, there's a lot of potential here for, I hope this series isn't dead, but because there's just so much fucking potential. The sound design is outstanding, the voice acting, the music, the sound effects are incredible, and the pacing is just so much better. It's just, I don't understand it, because it's quite similar to the first game. It's just, things went so much more smoothly this time around. I didn't want to stop playing it. I just wanted to keep going, experience the next part of the game. Blown away, man. This game is an 8.5 out of 10. A whole 2 points increase. Oh, there goes a little piece of wood that just slid over and made a sound. I apologize, but this game, shit you not, this is awesome. This one you should play after experiencing the first game somehow. Rather you play it, or you watch a Let's Play, or you watch someone's like video on, okay, here's the game explained. Like, this is the first game, but like, yeah, man, these games are dope, and I want people to appreciate them more. I had a great time playing these ones, though, yes, I got frustrated with the first one. The second one was just so much better. I was blown away. 8.5 out of 10. Amazing experience. If you're an Xbox owner, don't miss this one, man. Like, be loud and proud about HellBlade 2. Like, this is one of the Xbox's flagship series, and you gotta keep it alive, y'all. We gotta keep HellBlade alive. Let's get ourselves a HellBlade 3, because, yo, these games are actually dope. And the creativity behind it, the difference, it's just, yes, it's refreshing. Very refreshing, and I really actually, well, I wouldn't say actually, I enjoy what they're doing over there at Ninja Theory. They're doing different shit. They're always trying something a little bit different, outside of the box, and we need that, man. We need that in a world where everyone's trying to make the next big online multiplayer shooter, and nah, man, we need more games like Senua, HellBlade, and HellBlade Sacrifice, whatever the fuck it's called. We need more games like this. I want shorter experiences, and I want a more focused story every now and again, instead of every game having to be 75 hours, and you gotta spread that story thin across the whole entire thing. And it just doesn't hit hard, man. It just doesn't hit the same way as a game like this does. So I would absolutely recommend you check these games out if you have not yet. I took my freaking time, and I finally played them, and they're still awesome. Check them out. Share them around with your friends. Don't miss HellBlade, and especially don't miss HellBlade 2. I am stunned that poor game just didn't get the love at all. I am stunned. I will be giving it tons of love this year. Absolutely. There we go, everybody. Another episode of the horror-themed month of October done. And we're sadly getting close to the end already. I can't believe how fast this month is flying by. Maybe, I'm hoping I can have 2 more episodes. That would be really cool. I don't know if anyone would really mind if it kind of dipped into November. I do have stuff planned for November. I was kind of thinking of like a nostalgia November where I go back and just pick some of like the comfort food games and just replay those. Because there's a lot, I'm actually building up a pretty nice pile of games I want to replay. Now, I'm not really a big replay guy, but I'm getting that itch now to start replaying some of those games, and maybe that'll be the theme of November, and we'll do like a nostalgia November and just talk about the comfort food games that we all enjoy. And I don't know, I'll have to find what those games are, but that's just an early idea. So let me know if you think that sounds pretty key. Outside of that, we're still doing horror, baby. I got another game that I'm about halfway through now, so I'm hoping that will be done for next week. If not, I have a list that's ready to go, and I can do a nice horror-themed list. And yeah, so there's stuff, baby. In terms of what else we got going on, not gamer-related, WrestleCast should be, I don't think there's any pay-per-views this time around, so we should be okay there. If there is, then there'll be an extra pay-per-view review for that. Outside of that, just your regular wrestling recap of AEW and WWE programming and the NHL, baby. We're into the NHL season now. We're off and running, and hopefully things are going well for the teams that I'm rooting for. Yeah, there's only one way to find out, and you will have to listen to the Hockey Cast and see what the heck is going on around the NHL. Crazy time right now is the early parts of the season where most teams panic really early, or it's crazy time of the year, y'all. So just stick around with the GX Plus cast. You want to be even more awesome than you are right now. Make sure you're reviewing and liking and sharing the podcast with 1,000 or 2,000 of your closest friends, or even enemies. I don't care. Tell your enemies about it as well. Why not? And there's a Twitter page you can follow along with. All the links are in the description. On Twitter, I try my best to put up announcements and let you know when the episodes are out and available. And I got a YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos, where I upload all of these podcast episodes over there. You can watch them. Great place to interact over there on YouTube. You want a question answered live on the podcast, anything about YouTube, or anything about wrestling, hockey, or video games. I mean, you can ask a question about YouTube. I'm not very good at it, or anything else outside of those three topics, but I'll try my best. I got an email address as well if you want to have a private conversation. My door is open for everyone and anyone. There we go, everybody. Hopefully you're having a fantastic, spooky themed month of October. I'm doing great. I'm doing horror movies all the time, playing horror games. I'm crushing it. I'm eating Reese's Pieces, Reese's Candies. I'm having a great month, y'all. So hopefully y'all having a great month, and we'll be back with some more GX Plus Cast.